Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all Indiana students, sponsored by the Indiana Association for College Admission Counseling and StrideScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at inacac.org. And on that same address, this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week, again, at that same website. I'd like to now turn it over to my friends at the University of Alabama.
Thank you, Terry. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. My name is Jennifer Potts, and I am a regional recruiter with the University of Alabama. And what this means is I actually live in Indiana, and I recruit students from the state of Indiana to the University of Alabama, one of which is joining us here tonight. So I'd like to introduce my co-presenter for the evening. It's Connor Farrell. Connor is a freshman on campus, and I'll let him give you some more info about himself.
So as she said, my name is Connor Farrell. I'm a freshman. I went to Carmel High School in Indiana and graduated last year. I'm an accounting major here at Alabama, and so far I'm loving life down here.
Thank you, Connor. So I am going to get everything set up here with my screen sharing, and we will start this evening. I'd like for you to see a quick video about the University of Alabama. So I'd like for you to be able to picture it in case you've never been. So here we go. Maybe. So, I apologize, y'all. I'm having some technical difficulties with my PowerPoint. Let's see here. That should do it. Okay. All right. So, 2020, the year of technical difficulties. So, the University of Alabama is located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which, depending on where you are in the state, it could be as many as 10 hours from northern Indiana. If you're in central Indiana like I am, it's about 8 hours. And then if you're watching from southern Indiana, we're about 6 hours from home. So being a little bit further south, we typically have a little bit better winter weather. So you saw in the video, lots of green space. So the better winter weather gives us a little bit more time of the year to enjoy that green space. And to me, the campus is what college should look like. So the brick and the pillars. It's a lovely campus. In fact, we were voted the best college campus in the state of Alabama. Connor, what drew you to campus?
I mean, initially I didn't really know what I was going to do, and thankfully you came in and talked to us my sophomore year. I went to that. But being on campus was just a completely new experience for me, completely different. It felt like a second home. It was beautiful. All the flowers, bricks, trees, open space that you can utilize. And then sports is a major thing too. I love sports teams down here, and the weather is amazing as always. So there's a bunch of different things, and none of it's bad.
So speaking of sports, we should probably address like where you are, because it seems like you're zooming from a pretty cool location tonight.
Yeah, so about a week and a half ago, I did start managing for the baseball team. I'm a video assistant for the team, and I work directly with the coaches and players to go over game film, scrimmage film, and then I also create scouting reports against or for the teams that we'll be facing in the spring.
That's amazing. And especially to get that gig your first year on campus, which is cool. So speaking of Tuscaloosa, Connor, do you have a favorite spot in town yet?
Food-wise, I would have to say either Buffalo Phil's or Taco Mama are the go-tos. Those are really
Okay.
good places to go out and eat. I love walking around the quad. I'm also involved in Greek life on campus. We might get more into that a little bit later, but being around the fraternity house is a lot of fun too.
Very cool. So my favorite spot in Tuscaloosa, I like to go to the park at Manderson Landing, which there is a running or walking path that goes along the river, and the river is tree lined. It's lovely. The path actually goes to downtown, so you could walk to downtown if you were so motivated. Kind of wraps around downtown, and this picture is downtown Tuscaloosa. So it's kind of full of the restaurants and the boutique shopping in downtown Tuscaloosa. But it's a lovely college setting. So Tuscaloosa itself is about a town of 100,000 people, but we are an hour away from our biggest city in Alabama, which is Birmingham. So some facts about the University of Alabama, of course, our population, but something that I want to point out about this slide is that 60% of our students come from out of state, 60%. So it is something that I hear regularly from students that, it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be to go so far from home, because nobody knows anybody since 60% are from out of state. And we currently have 277 students on campus from the state of Indiana. Connor, what was that experience like? Like first day, was it easy to make friends?
I knew pretty early on my senior year that I wanted to go to Alabama, and it was actually the only school I applied to. So when I got accepted, I went out of my way to try to introduce myself to as many people as possible through Facebook group chats, Instagram. So I got to know a ton of people before I even came down to campus. Especially with everything going on, it's been one of the things I'm grateful for, just because I always have friends to go out and go and hang out with, things to do. Fortunately, there is some kids here just because of the way Corona affected everything that aren't as social as they could be. And that's just unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think as long as you put yourself out there to people, everybody here is friendly. And with the out of state and so many people being out of state, everybody's kind of in the same boat. You're coming to a new school where you don't know practically anybody. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And there's going to be people that are exactly like you from all over the country and even all over the world.
That's really good advice. Wherever you go, put yourself out there. So here's some information on our 2020 freshman class. So these are averages I'd like to point out. This is not what we require for admission, but we have really great students on campus. We're super proud of our average GPA. We have 40% of our students have a 30 ACT or higher, so we tend to attract some really great students. We're top 5 in the country for National Merit Scholars, but again, not what we require for admission. So let's talk about that. So if we have any seniors on tonight, my best news for you is that our application is super simple. So like 10 minutes, if you can write your name and address, you're about halfway done with our application. There is no essay, no resume, or no letter of recommendation. We are not a common application school, which can get a little confusing, especially because the University of Alabama in Birmingham and the University of Alabama in Huntsville are common application schools. So you do have to go to our website. The address is on this slide, and apply directly from our website. So in addition to your completed application, we need a $40 application fee, your high school transcripts, and if you are planning to submit a test score, we'd also like to see your test score. So once you get those to us, we typically turn an admission decision around in about 2 weeks. So if you apply today and request your transcript soon, then you'll be able to hear an admission decision really soon. So what we typically are looking for admission is about a 3.0 GPA. If you have questions about any of this that I'm talking about tonight, you'll certainly see my contact information at the end. So I'm happy to set up a meeting with you to discuss kind of our admission requirements in that application. So we have really stellar academic programs, and a couple of things that they have in common. One, we are a major research institution, and we have research opportunities that begin as early as your freshman year on campus. And we were just ranked last year second in the country for internship placement. So that's a really big part of our educational experience. So we want to get you some hands-on experience while you are an undergraduate. So Connor, tell us about your major.
So as I previously mentioned, I'm an accounting major, and right now, class-wise, I'm just taking a lot of the base classes, getting those out of the way. I'm really excited next year. We're getting a new building to the business school, which is supposed to be really nice. That's super exciting, but I can't wait to intern in the field, and also on top of that, just get more involved with accounting in general. Awesome.
Yeah, we're really pumped. We should be open for business on August 1st in that new building. So something to look forward to for our business students. And that was in part to a gift from the CEO of Lockheed Martin. She funded a good portion of that building. So here's a list of our majors. So they are actually on the screen from biggest college to smallest college. So College of Arts and Sciences is the biggest, College of Social Work is the smallest. College of Business is just about 100 students shy of our College of Arts and Sciences. If you're looking at this list and you were like me in high school and totally overwhelmed about the thought of picking something to study and, you know, something to be for the rest of your life, please don't panic. We generally want you to have a major nailed down by the end of your sophomore year at Alabama. If you're looking at this and you're like, ooh, that sounds good, that sounds good, that sounds good. We also have a program that's called New College. And New College is not new at all. It's named after the new family, and New College is our Design Your Own Major program. On this, you'll see information about our pre-professional programs. So pre-professional programs at Alabama, like pre-med or pre-law, they're not majors, but they're tracks. So generally speaking, you can be any major with the intent to go to med school or to go to law school. They say the important thing is to pick something you're passionate about studying so you can get good grades, so you can get into those programs in the future. I also want to point out the bottom left-hand corner, the Special Programs Blunt Undergraduate Initiative. That's one of our ways to make our big school of 33,000 feel more like a small liberal arts school. It's a living learning community housed in our College of Arts and Sciences, as well as McCullough Institute for Pre-Medical Scholars is also a really unique program to the University of Alabama. If you are thinking about being a doctor, it's a living learning community designed for freshmen to really gain skills that make good doctors, but skills you don't typically learn in medical school. So things like compassion and empathy. Super great, again, living learning community, stellar academic opportunities. So we have an honors college, and honors is a big deal at Alabama, and that's another one of those ways to make the big school of 33,000 feel more like a smaller school. So our honors seminars are capped at 15 students. There's some great benefits that you can see here on the screen, as well as our admission requirements. We just recently went test optional as a university, and honors has not made that decision yet, but stay tuned if that's something that you're interested in. But for years, we've had the opportunity for current students to apply to our honors college if you have a 3.5 GPA once you're a student on campus for a semester. Within the Honors College, we have some unique programs. One of them is called Randall's Research. If you're super passionate about the thought of doing research, it's a nationally recognized research program. And then we have a program called University Fellows Experience, and that's really geared towards students who wish to change the world. If you are intrigued by the thought of an honors program at Alabama, I would urge you, we'll talk about virtual information sessions here in a bit, but I would urge you to hop on one of those soon so you can get the details that you might need for those applications, as they have early application deadlines. So I want to point out on this slide that this is not a unique thing to the University of Alabama. Every school in the world wants our students to be successful. So we have put forth many initiatives to make you successful in the classroom and out of the classroom. So some examples, of course, if you need accommodations in the classroom, we'll provide those. If you need a tutor or a writing center, that help is available. If you need mental health resources, just know we're there for you. We're cheering you on. We have those resources. So seek those out. I got a phone call last week from the mom of a freshman, and her son was a super bright high school student, 4.0, 32 ACT, super bright son, and he bombed a midterm. And that was really hard. So know that even students who haven't had to really work too hard to get good grades in high school might have some struggles. So please seek out those resources so that you can be successful. So Connor, you mentioned Greek life when you did your intro, and Greek life's a pretty big deal at Alabama. About a third of our students are involved in a fraternity or sorority. That said, it's only a third. So 2/3 of our students find other meaningful ways to be involved. But tell us a little bit, Connor, about your experience. What's it been like?
It's different. I mean, just because of regulations, we're not allowed to have parties, not really allowed to get together in a giant standpoint when it comes to meeting all the people that are active in my fraternity and then also being with all my pledge brothers. That being said, there's a bunch of different types of fraternities. You got the cliche, the ones that just go out and like they're partying, having fun. All of them get involved in some way or another with philanthropy. And then you have other ones where they're connected, where it's like a business fraternity or have some sort of educational guideline or background to that as well. So there's a bunch of different ways to get involved with Greek life. And I think it's not only a great way to create connections past college, but it's a great way to make friends for life.
For sure. Anything else you've been involved in or gotten involved in? I know you've only been on campus for a very short time.
Just with house hours right now, or with the fraternity, and then the busy baseball schedule, I haven't really looked too much into joining a bunch of other things. There's a bunch of clubs that are super interesting to me, and that's something I'll probably look into first semester next year or in the spring. But with my schedule right now, it's a little tight.
You're juggling a lot of things, especially
Yeah.
job. So we have over 600 clubs and organizations. I'll give you some more information about that on the next slide. But one thing I want to point out on here is we're really proud that our students log over 1 million hours of community service each year. And you mentioned Connor philanthropy, so that's a big part of the Greek life system as well. And we got to talk about food. So we have Good Eats on campus. We have all-you-can-eat dining halls in several locations on campus. But we also have food courts with things like Chick-fil-A and Panda Express. The picture there in the middle is, last I heard, one of the largest, if not the largest, college Starbucks. But we have in total 6 coffee shops on campus. But we also have really great rec centers. So we have a rec center, the old rec center we call it, is about a half a mile from where most students live. And we learned that students don't always like to walk to work out. So we built a new rec center, which is in the connecting of some of the residence halls on campus. So some great workout options. So in the video, you saw the water slide and the lazy river. That's part of our older rec center. But then we have the rock wall here, part of the newer rec center. So really some great options for staying in shape. So I mentioned there's 600 clubs and organizations. That website at the bottom, you can actually search all of the clubs and organizations. So if you can type in a keyword like dance, and then it'll pop up a whole bunch of options, or you can type in any other interests that you have. Dance Marathon tends to be a big one for Indiana students coming on campus. I also like to point out that for the 5th consecutive year, our robotics team won NASA's grand prize in the robotics mining competition. But really great ways. And that's our hope for you, is that you have a really well-rounded college experience. So of course, succeed in the classroom, but make those connections for life through clubs and organizations, and really have fun with college. Roll Tide. So this is fitting for your setting, Connor. But a little bit about our athletic programs. We're pretty good. We have 95 collegiate national championships. But a fun fact is that the University of Alabama has more speech and debate championships than we have football championships. So it's 21 versus 17. Great opportunities to cheer on the tide through athletics. We're also the reigning champion of men's and women's wheelchair basketball. So just some really cool, unique ways to cheer on your fellow classmates. If you are not wanting to compete at the Division I level, we also have club and intramural sports, over 60 of them to check out. So this is my favorite slide, and this is just another general piece of advice. Wherever you go to school, I highly recommend looking into the opportunities to study abroad. I got to spend 2 semesters abroad when I was in college. I spent one in southern France and one in Kingston, Jamaica. And certainly that year of my college experience was the most transformative. So look into it wherever you go. We have programs at the University of Alabama as short as 2 weeks, as long as a year. I used to say anywhere except Antarctica, but I recently learned that we do research on Antarctica. So I don't really know what to say anymore, but basically programs as comfortable as a faculty-led trip. So basically cutting a whole lot of Tuscaloosa and plopping it in Spain. So you go with a bunch of Alabama people, or we also have more immersion-based programs. So I highly recommend those opportunities. We'll talk about scholarships here in a bit, but oftentimes it can be affordable with scholarship money. We say the University of Alabama, where legends are made. We already talked about that business building and the gift from Marilyn Houston, the CEO of Lockheed Martin. But here's a couple of our other famous alumni. So housing. So full disclosure, the last time Connor did one of these with me was a visit for his high school, and he was in his residence hall. So he showed us his surprisingly really clean residence hall, and we got to see his room. But housing is really nice at the University of Alabama. So 50% of our housing is like that picture in the top right. Her name is actually Hope. And she is a freshman on campus from Indiana. She's from Plainfield, Indiana. And that is her room. And she lives in the similar style as Connor does. So Connor, tell us about your room.
Personally, I love my room. So it's very apartment style. It's, at least mine's symmetrical. So you got 2 rooms on either side with a bathroom. So I got 3 roommates, love all my roommates. I got to meet them beforehand, which was super nice. But I mean, you can't really ask for a better college living experience, in my opinion. For me, I wasn't a big fan of the 2-to-1 room. I like my personal space a little bit too much. And it's the best of both worlds. I mean, you have your own space, you got your own room, but at the same time, you got a living room that you can hang out in. You can put a TV in there, you got couches in there. So you got a really nice hangout area, and then you also have a space to yourself. Connor,
where are your roommates from?
One of my roommates is from Maryland, one of them is from Delaware, and then the other one's from Florida.
Very cool. So when Hope sent me her picture of her room, I replied back, well, when your residence hall is nicer than my house. So truly, the residence halls are beautiful. So 50% are like the style Connor just mentioned, and what the Hope's picture is. So 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom units, each with a little kitchen and a living room. Indiana students typically are concerned about air conditioning. And all of our residential halls are air conditioned. It gets very hot in the summer, so that's a necessity. So the other 50% kind of vary. So the picture below Hope is also a girl that I know. In the back is Zoe, and her mom and I work together. Zoe's from that's Claire, and Claire is from South Florida, and Zoe, her roommate in the front, is from Muscle Shores, Alabama. And that is their residence hall. They live in Tutwiler, which is like one of the oldest residence halls on campus. All girls, bathroom down the hall, so very traditional style, but again, super cute. And then the other picture is our newest style on campus. That's England Hall. And those are double occupancy private baths. So you have a roommate in your room, but the 2 of you share a private bath. A little bit about our housing process in case we have any seniors on. So once you get accepted to Alabama and you know you're coming to Alabama, then we ask you to submit an enrollment deposit. It's a $200 non-refundable enrollment deposit. After you do that, then you can submit your housing deposit. That's another $200. And once you do that, if you do that by February 1st, you get in a system where you get to choose your room and your roommate, which happens in May. So Housing, it's best if you know sooner than later, but of course we'll still house you as long as you let us know by May 1st. And my opinion is that you can't go wrong. So because the residence halls are really nice across the board, you can't go wrong. So what's all this cost? So our cost of attendance is on this slide. So in total for your tuition, your cost is essentially your fees, your room, which the room there is our super fancy 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. There are some cheaper options, and your board is your meal plan. In total, we're about $45,000. Couple things I want to point out before we get on to scholarships to talk about how this can be affordable is I want to point out that our priority deadline for the FAFSA, so to be eligible for financial aid, you need to complete the FAFSA, is December 1st. We'll talk about scholarships, but a friendly reminder that our scholarship application is due on January 15th. We come up with our final financial aid packages. So basically your cost minus scholarships minus financial aid, usually by the middle of March. So the scholarships here are automatic and unlimited, but they do require a test score. So if you're applying test optional, hold tight for a second, we'll get there. But these scholarships are automatic and unlimited. So if you apply with a 3.5 GPA and a 32 ACT or 1420 SAT, then you automatically get that scholarship, the $28,000 scholarship. If you apply now and you're at, let's say, the Foundation of Excellence category and you retest and you bump up to a 30 or 1360, then you will increase your scholarship even after you've been accepted through the February test. So if you are on the fence here, then and you get another chance to take the ACT or SAT, then you could be eligible for more money. Now these scholarships, they can be used for undergraduate or graduate school. So if you're able to complete your degree in fewer than 8 semesters, then you can use the remaining scholarship dollars for law school on our campus or a graduate program. Also mentioned with study abroad that you can use these scholarships for that. In most cases. So I've had presidential students before who their cost of their study abroad program is actually cheaper than their tuition for their abroad program. So they can use their scholarship dollar and any remaining dollars. We will write them a check for the difference so they can use that on airfare or spending money or whatnot. So again, these are the automatic ones. We also have a couple other pretty great scholarships. I mentioned our success with National Merit Finalists, and that scholarship is 5 years of free tuition, 4 years of housing, etc. for National Merit Finalists. And National Recognition Scholarships are also new this year. So they are for students recognized by the PSAT or College Board for if they're National African American, Hispanic, Indigenous, Rural, or Small Town recognition scholarships. So some good scholarship money there as well. So these are the new ones. These scholarships require the submission of a scholarship application. And that, again, deadline is January 15th, a really important deadline to remember. So these are based on the submission of the scholarship application, which basically is like a resume type thing. So you put down your leadership experience, your service experience, your clubs and activities, work experience, those types of things on your scholarship application. We recommend completing it thoroughly. And from there, we're going to basically rank our best scholarship applications as our tier 1 scholarship applications. Then we'll move to tier 2, then we'll move to tier 3. And then I like to say there's a tier 4, and that's unfortunately those who didn't get a scholarship from the scholarship application. So these are based on your core GPA, which once you apply, will recalculate your GPA for your core, which would be your average of your math, science, English, social studies, and foreign language. And from there, depending on what your GPA is and which tier you're put in, then you could get a scholarship. These are, again, not automatic, so they do require that submission of that scholarship application, and I do recommend that you spend some time working on that scholarship application after you've been accepted. So again, you get accepted. After you're accepted, you can complete that scholarship application with a deadline of January 15th. So we have lots of opportunities to earn college credit while you're in high school. So if you are taking AP classes or IB classes, or you're duly enrolled, I know that we give some good credit for those, for your hard work. So here's some examples, but on this website, and you can email me so you don't have to remember this, you can check to see how college classes transfer to Alabama, as well as AP scores and IB scores for credit. And it's interesting, this past year was the first year, and I've been with Alabama for 7 years, but the first year that I heard a lot of students say that they chose Alabama because of the credit that they received based on their high school work. So visiting campus, we have reopened for visits, and we would love to get you to campus if you are able to travel. We have Monday through Friday campus tours, and typically if you can give me a heads up on when you're visiting, I can typically schedule a full day for you on campus. So I can set up time for you to meet with an academic advisor or honors college or study abroad or Greek life, those types of things. If you let me know when you're planning to come, give me some heads up, I can usually do that. We also have a couple visit programs this fall. They're University Day programs. That information's on our website. If you're not able to travel, or I guess one of the perks that's come out of this pandemic to me is that we have increased our virtual information opportunities. So we have daily virtual information sessions Monday through Friday, so you can pop on and hear from the College of Nursing or the College of Business or the Honors College, and you can chat with a current student and learn about Greek life and those types of things. So I love that now you can get that information without having to drive 6, 8, or 10 hours to campus. We also recently updated our 360-degree campus tour, which is just a short campus tour, about 5 minutes online. And of course, I like to recommend checking us out on social media. We are the most hashtagged college campus on Instagram with the hashtag Roll Tide. So before we get to questions, I'm going to play a quick video. And
listen.
Put some questions in the chat.
That's a sound reserved for a select few. Because life doesn't just give out Pulitzers or championships. Greatness takes work, grit, perseverance. And this is only the beginning.
Whoops.
The University of Alabama, where legends are made.
Sorry, I butchered that there. I'm going to go ahead and stop that share, and I'll put up my contact information at the end. Before we get to questions, Connor, I kind of skipped over you with visiting. Tell me about when you visited campus.
The visit was probably what made the trip. I did reach out a few weeks in advance, like she said, and I highly recommend doing that. But the whole entire day, from the start of the day to the end of the day, was completely planned, and I loved every minute of it. I got lunch with a student, personal meetings at the business school and study abroad. I toured a fraternity house. That night, I went to the gymnastics meet, which was surprisingly a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm definitely going to go to a lot of those when those start up this winter when we get back from school. But it's definitely an experience that you need to have. You come down to campus, and it really makes it feel like home for you. Everybody's super welcoming. Southern hospitality down here is great, and couldn't complain about 1 minute of it.
I love that. So, all right. So before we get to questions, I have, tell us, like, Connor, what's it like with COVID? Do you have any in-person classes?
There's a couple that are like hybrids. So one day a week you'll go in, one day it's online or work at your own pace, and you gotta just check in once a week or once every couple weeks and make sure you're on track. I have one class, which is my general business class, where I have to be there every week, but got the barriers up. Everybody's running masks, so it's super safe in there. And then basically at the end of class, you scan a barcode and tell them that you were there. Besides that, it's as normal as you can make it with regulations going on. I mean, you can still walk around and hang out with your friends. The new dorm rules, you can have a few friends over at a time, which is good now. For a little bit there, it was kind of tough not being able to hang out in the rooms, watch football on Saturdays and whatnot. but it's slowly normalizing, which is super fun.
Awesome. If you don't get it, if you haven't gotten a chance, jot down my contact information and know that my job, again, is to help you all figure out if this is a good fit for you. So please use me. I'm going to go ahead and stop this share so that I can get to questions here. So, all right, we have a question in from Lucy. Connor, can you tell us about your food?
Food? So my food plan is a little bit different. So I can actually eat in 3 different places right now. So the dining halls are actually super good. Like I said, when I visited here, I got to eat at the dining halls. I'm obsessed with these. I haven't seen them too much this year. I've seen them once or twice. They have basically Rice Krispie treats that has Cocoa Puffs instead of Rice Krispies, and I love those. They're some of my favorite things. But I'm also on the fraternity dining plan, which is their food's amazing as well. And then I can now actually go to the athlete one. So it's the best of all 3 worlds. I mean, you can't complain with any of them. They're all super good.
Nice. Tell us about the experience getting your job. Did you interview? Did you apply? How did that work?
I kind of got it from a few different connections I had. So back in Indiana, I did work at a baseball facility, and I was super good friends with the owner. I was neighbors with him growing up, or once I moved to Indiana, I was neighbors with him for a long time, and I worked there throughout high school. So fortunately for me, he made a few calls, and I mean, here I am. I'm loving every minute of it.
I mean, that's so cool. All right, I got another question come in, and it is any recommendations again about visiting. So I mentioned that I can set up a full day for you on campus, but I highly recommend y'all, when you get a chance to visit a college campus, if you're able to get to campus, go. And if you're able to spend some extra time there, try to. By extra time, like I love it when students visit and they're able to spend the night near campus so that they can come at nighttime and walk around campus and see what it feels like in the evenings. And also it's pretty beautiful all lit up at nighttime. I also recommend you taking time to explore the area to see if it feels like a good fit for you when you visit, to make sure you get a good grasp of the surrounding area of Tuscaloosa or whatever college that you're visiting. So, and the other thing I like for students to do is like allow some time. Like I said, I can schedule a whole bunch of information sessions and the like for you, but I love for you to allow some free time in your schedule so that you can go hang out in Starbucks on campus and people watch, or stop somebody who's not paid by the Office of Admissions and ask them what they like about the university, if they would, any recommendations for them, those types of things. So truly, when you visit a school, if you're able, certainly make the most of your time. And what tends to work out well for students who come from Indiana is visiting, usually driving down on like a Thursday after school. In most parts of Indiana where we're on Eastern time zone, you actually gain an hour when you drive to campus. And then you're able to visit all day Friday and like take your time coming home on the weekend. Or students oftentimes will visit on a Sunday or drive down on a Sunday, visit on a Monday, and then drive back either afterwards or stay a couple days if they're on a break or whatnot. So certainly keep me posted on when you hope to come to campus. And if you're planning visits around the big times like fall break or spring break, the more notice that you can give me, the better. Let's see here. All right. It looks like we have exhausted our questions for the evening. So if there's anyone who has a last minute question, go ahead and type that in the chat. And just a reminder that I'm here for you. And I hope y'all, I know this has been a stressful time for you with the pandemic and being in high school. My hope is that this college search is not stressful. So whatever you need, certainly reach out. I'm here to help you. You can always go to our website if you didn't get a chance to jot down my contact information and search for me there. I'm also on our website. Thank you, Aaron, for the comment. I'm also on the website scheduling individual Zoom meetings. So if you'd like some more information there, I'm happy to help as well. So Connor, special thank you to you for joining us tonight. I hope it's a great semester. Thanks, and thank you for sharing your experience with others. And for you all who are joining us, I hope that you have that experience, even a few months in, that you want to hop on one of these with your recruiter and talk about your experience. So Connor, thank you again. And to you all, best of luck with everything. Take care. And before you leave, stay tuned for a second. We have some closing announcements, including a brief survey for you to complete at the end.
All right, great. Great job, Connor and Jennifer. Roll Tide. Great
Roll
presentation, and especially like the questions at the end from the audience. Those are super. So audience, thanks again for joining us this evening. When you close this window, there will be a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, again, as a reminder, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional ones at inacac.org, and in about a week you'll receive, you'll be able to find the session's recording as well as at that same website. So again, thank you for attending. Have a great evening and stay safe and well.
Thank you. Bye, guys.